But the end is never the end. While I have never played or watched any of the Kingdom Hearts games, I have watched Donkey explain the plot of the Kingdom Hearts series. Oh.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Back to the memory zone. Now remembering when Stanley found the collectibles. According to everyone in the comments of that video, though, he was quite accurate about a telephone and a baby basket. Oh, but we're skipping all of this. We're not going through those doors. We're going down here.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
It's over there. Can I pick that? Oh, it's gone. I missed my chance to pick it up.
And here was a second Stanlerine. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the boss's bathroom. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
Oh, but I didn't get the previous one.
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini stand? Can you remember?
It was the warehouse.
No. The warehouse was the 4th place you found a Figanli, not the 3rd.
Figanli.
Well, I guess perhaps I shouldn't be surprised. Memories like these are so precious and so cherished that they all just sort of blend together, don't they? You know what? If the warehouse feels like the 3rd place you found a collectible, then who am I to go making judgments?
Can I? Oh, I can't fall off. It won't let me.
Let's see. What came next? Oh yes, we found a Figly in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened. This was the 5th mini stand, and this one was really something special. It was by the red and blue doors. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
Windows Movie Maker. In extremely low resolution. Star wipe into clip art of 2 people high-fiving. Best Boy, the narrator, starring Stanley. Copyright the narrator.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
They led to the same place.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here behind the boss's office. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
It is really neat that they did this whole sequence, and obviously, like, whatever order you found them in, it would be different. You are in the present. Oh, because we're leaving the memory zone?
Then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone. No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
See how that feels.
Okay, yes, the back of the boss's office. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
I'm just constantly smiling while playing this game. Very happy. Are we going to watch the video again?
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
Fast forward.
Yes, I love that video. Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
So which one do we skip, then?
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Oh, because we didn't go look at the understairs one. Right. Go over here. Won't let me. Nope. Maybe my next time through, it'll let me. Assuming we're going to go back through in the forward direction again.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it?
I did miss the first
Keep going.
one. Keep going.
This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the Figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Jump circle. I'm still out of jumps.
It's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then. But time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories. Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else?
Are we gonna
Was there someone
rewind
that
back
came
to like the
from
title
office?
screen or
There's
the
something
intro
I feel
video
I can remember.
or the old mod? Half-Life 2? Half-Life
Yes,
2.
I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for
Deep
me.
lore?
He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was. A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
Oh, I see you too are a bucket of culture.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not.
Let's go over here and go up the cargo lift to what might be the phone.
To him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
I just remember. I do want to see what is going on in the meeting room now. Now that we found all the collectibles.
The cargo lift, yes. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do. Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Indeed.
In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here. Stanley once again obeyed blindly. Now pick up the phone, said the bucket. Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together. Whoa, hold on.
I defy you, Bucket.
Unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket. Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
Let's take a look.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body.
Exactly. That's why you guys always laugh at me. Is because I have this pose.
To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name.
Jim.
Next,
J-I-M.
provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary.
Okay.
When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm funny with the dunny. I think that was correct.
This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random.
Chat, have you been filling in answers at random?
With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, with each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invaders who threaten our very existence,
no, that's okay.
and to very likely die in a
12 legs is
hailstorm
fine.
of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that last part about Earth reigning supreme.
This video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back. I can feel it.
If the fence wasn't there, I was going to jump off and die and say, "Now that's comedy."
You'll say, how ridiculous, how absurd, what a hilarious concept. The king of comedy, that's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley. The bucket spoke. The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? Oh, no, what's going on? There was supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land, or not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room. What an egregious mistake.
Not my
I've made a
fault.
fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp.
True.
I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my... Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
If I do it again, do we just... Is it like the other one? Or we just wind up...
What? We're back at the phone already? No.
The light was swinging so
Here
wildly
we
that
go.
time.
You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
I'm gonna try one more time just to see.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. Here we go.
Or maybe it was swinging wildly before, but then
When
it slows
Stanley and
down.
the bucket
I don't
came to
know.
a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison.
Ugh.
Let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame. Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket?
Wasn't...
The bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar. No. Getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
You should go watch videos by He-Ten Style. He's
Wait,
extremely
Stanley
funny.
thought to himself. Am I sure that the orders stopped coming in? How is that possible? They never stopped. Surely I was mistaken. Ah, the embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time.
Let's go jump out the window. Hop.
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear. We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now,
Garfunkel's here.
first time I can reveal
I
to
mean,
you my
Jim is
true
here.
self.
Whoa.
The bucket began to
True
tell
self-reveal.
Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans.
Oh, well,
and
that's
the
not
bucket's
good.
own complicity therein.
Oh, it's super
Of
bad.
sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger. Of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed.
I mean, that makes up
and
for
the
it a little
bittersweet
bit,
reality
but not
of
much.
time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley. What are you talking about? He screamed. You're a bucket! To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
Oh my.
No, said the bucket. Not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was
Kingdom
young
Hearts?
back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No! Stanley screamed even louder this time. This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this? As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like...
Did I win?
My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power.
Oh, that's true. I did that off
Easily
stream.
been overwhelmed
I didn't
by
think
the
you guys
bucket's
would be
power.
interested in watching
I'm
it.
speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
Hooray! This is button heaven. I'm doing it. I push them. I push so many buttons. I do it, and then I do it again, and I do it again. Okay, but I'm not gonna stay here.
Someone was following Stanley.
Yeah.
He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now,
Yeah.
he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Hey, that's the thing from the game. Hop.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things.
You make me want to be a better man.
Stanley
Now let's
clutched
go.
the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I never actually went and obeyed absolutely everything. Let's go do that. Bedtime? Okay, let's go do that too.
Still
Have a good
no one
night.
was here. Stanley needed the bucket's
See you
warmth
next
and
time.
comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
This doesn't have a Stanley anymore. No, of course not. Did I ride the elevator with the bucket yet? I feel like I did.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an The bucket did not react, except perhaps a tiny glow of warmth. Subtle, yes, but an unmistakable spark from somewhere deep within.
No.
But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Alright, so this time we'll simply obey everything. And then we're starting to run out of endings, right? Unless there's more new stuff. Like, new.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
So we still have that one. Escape. We still have go pick up the phone. And that might be it.
The lights rose.
And then after that, I guess I might open up to chat if they have any ideas, but I think that's all there is left. Go down the hallway to escape, and go to the right and pick up the phone, I think.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped.
I won't prematurely end this.
Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as
Beep,
Stanley
error,
cradled
beep.
it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
234 is all garbled.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do?
Oh, there's one other. I need to take go for what used to be the confusion ending and actually do feed the bucket into. In fact, we'll do that one next. Feed the bucket into the bucket destroyer.
Into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world.
Excuse me.
At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
I'm glad I got the sticker on it that says property of Stanley.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold realities past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system. Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth.
Well, I've already got 2 sneezes in America.
Any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and... What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty, until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, or go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed.
Very lucky indeed. The blue hallway. Wonderful.
Stanley
Pointless.
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it
As
was.
I don't watch a whole lot
Bucket
of
turned out to be correct. Well, no,
Cherno
never mind.
anymore, but I did see that he's streaming this game,
Stanley
so I will want to go watch his
go
VOD,
back,
I think.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this
Forgot there was a
bucket
fireplace
you're
down here,
carrying
too.
around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it. Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up. Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That
Oh,
is its singular
do you not have the
personality
option?
trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the
I thought it was a
pantheon of
choice.
Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see
Right.
that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and... Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Alright, so it's a little bit of a repeat. So let's go down the escape tunnel and then answer the phone. And that'll be... Oh! Nice.
Can you verify that this is correct? Excellent. Your order will arrive shortly. Thank you again for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
Wait a minute. Future Foundation? How did they get into this game?
Ability to carry a bucket so magnificent, Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded onward. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
This again? Do we get more?
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Oh, so there's some kind of a roguelike Steam sale going on.
Stanley
I don't
and the
know that
bucket
I'm really a
walked
big
straight
fan
ahead
of
through the large door that
roguelikes.
read, Mind
They
control
look like
facility.
Metroidvanias were included with those, and so I might browse through there and see if there's anything that I might want to play.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
I still hope that at some point we get some little bit of, like,
At this point, Stanley
What
and
would
the
you
bucket
call
were
it?
knowingly walking
Like,
forward
gameplay
to a very
that's
painful death for each of them.
different. Like, where they put in what seems to be a real game. Kind of like in, what did we play? The Hex? Where towards the very end, there was like a fully 3D section. Not very long, but it was an actual, like, first-person shooter where you run around and shoot.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Bonk. The Bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You are standing at the precipice of knowledge. Much like a bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated, full of knowledge of the bucket, and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit, or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were in ignorance and darkness?
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
A bucket with two handles. This bucket is depicted as having two handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. And is that... looks like backwards text, but I don't know. And we can never know. 25 buckets. A photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once, and this is clearly more than 25. Come on now. I insist that you come on now. Inferno bucket, a replica of the Inferno bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet, in spite of it all, the simple fact remains, no one can control a bucket. I can pick it up, though. Oh, I can't pick it up. The stress bucket, an analogy. It's presented without commentary. Worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of reassurance. Vulnerability equals size and strength of the bucket. Coping strategies equals holes. Stress equals level of water in the bucket. Rest and relaxation, doing something you enjoy. Rest and relaxation. Okay. Oh, there's a leak in the roof. I see. Cave drawing. While we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasures.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Where is the bucket, by the way? I don't have it anymore. The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear our grasp of the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance inevitably is for our own good. What if I jump? Oh, I can just walk out here and pick it up.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision for...
It's a fun inversion. Boxes.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather. Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle embrace, protective, yet delicate, assertive, yet compassionate. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room. No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good, said the bucket. Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do. Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked. In here, said the bucket. Go into this dark room over here. Stanley once again obeyed blindly. Now pick up the phone, said the bucket. Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
How does picking up a phone teleport you?
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Eight. The beige pages. Maritime directory. Not yellow pages. Dodecahedrons. Sunset. Living in the West. Is it? Oh, Stanley, it's me, your bucket. Press K to take me to work with you.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Press O to take me back home with you. Boop.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Jazz music. Press R to go back to work, if you say so.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
Don't listen to the loud man. Press G for us to go back home.
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Press Y to ignore anyone in your life except for me.
It's sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? Press V to go back home. That's my crouch button. See,
Yes,
I crouched.
On closer inspection, that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Press T to relive the same day with me over and over.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's
So much more than just a regular bucket. Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps, if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
Let's get it on. Oh, that's just as good as a bucket. Drink some water. Get hydrated.
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
Go back to work, Stanley. And a reload.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this
All right,
door,
so
I can make it through them all.
I guess we've exhausted everything that I can think of. If anybody has any suggestions to do either with or without the bucket for new content, go ahead and let me know. Blind playthrough rules lifted. Is there... Steam achievements that I didn't get. There's the test achievement, please ignore. Entire duration of a Tuesday. For some reason I didn't get the 88888 achievement. Maybe you can't get it during the 333 run. Speed run. Set all setting sliders in the menu to all the available numbers. Super go outside. Don't play the Stanley Parable for 10 years. I'll have to mark the date after I'm done playing.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
No ideas for suggestion, Mr. Bunch of Video? Yeah. There might not be... I mean, there's probably other things. I just don't know what they are. Let's see. What other non-bucket ending can I go for to see if it is any different? Or maybe even the ones out the window here, right? Or no, I'll go do the escape ending without the bucket.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Or yeah, I guess that's it.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley
right, because I did stumble upon, before we even got the bucket, I stumbled upon the ride the elevator back up ending.
Stepping into
so I wonder if there are other ones.
Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
I mean, I suppose whatever other endings exist, I'll see them elsewhere. It is fun to, see them and go through them on your own, but not to the extent that I would devote like a whole extra stream to go and
Stanley
like.
walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Two doors. Filing cabinets. Corridor. So it looks the same. Credutes. Anything in here about the deluxeness of the deluxe edition?
Nothing there. Shoot. Well, try the other one then. Stanley walked over the bridge. And finally...
Freedom ending. Countdown room. Freedom ending. Countdown desk. For a time, the elevator. Up or down, with freedom above and countdown below. This is new. I think. I'm pretty sure this is new. But I don't know if you're supposed to make some kind of sense of it, or if it's just like the countdown, meaningless. Monitor room elevator. Mm-hmm. Der office, der lounge. Oh, yeah, nothing in here looks different. It's broken. Play. Oh, there we go. It was going to be a sneeze. Changed its mind. How do I leave? Up here? To the left? Yes, exit.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you.
It's still rumbling. Is that supposed to happen? Alright, so I guess I will not let time choose for me. I will save Stanley's life and the narrator's life by ending the game here. Alright, so that was the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, aka the Stanley Parable 2. I found it very enjoyable. Wonderful to see just the... he explained it so well in the section where he's going through the whole Stanley Parable 2 part, where he's like, there was clearly enough extra material that I wanted to be able to put in a game, but that there was no framework that was better for it than the original, and yet you kind of can't... It felt too awkward to try and make that material stand on its own. And he's like, it just made more sense to add it to the existing game. And so that's what they did. It works out really well. I'm sure that there are still secrets to find. I am not that much of a secret digger. I will just go find... I'll either look at the wiki or, videos will pop up telling, showing me the other endings. But from just what I got to experience from getting all of the normal endings with the bucket, very nice. Good job. Wonderful. So that's it for today's stream. I'll stream tomorrow and go back to Phoenix Wright. We're on the final chapter of Great Ace Attorney Resolve. And I should start planning for what else to play. I was briefly considering, or am still considering, I guess, what's it called? I Am Setsuna? It's just a JRPG that I started and played the first hour of a while back and never... Like, I don't know why, I don't remember why I lost interest in it, but, that might just be good for a change of pace. I don't know what I want to play. Maybe some kind of non-narrative game, since there was so much Phoenix Wright. Maybe I should find, like, a platformer or a Metroidvania or something to play. So I guess I'll also look at what's going on in the Steam sale. So that is it for today. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and I hope to see you next time. Good night.